Welcome to Be a Voice. This is Britt Carpenter on Usula Radio. Thanks for tuning in today. I'm really stoked about today's show. I have a really great guest sitting here with me. I'm excited to speak with him and peel some layers back. Today I am sitting here with the Jewish Sauce Boss. What's going up, man? What's going on, man? Not up. What's going on?
Well, there's always a lot going up, but there's a lot going on too.
Right
Life's
on.
good. Happy to be here. It's a good morning. It's a beautiful day. So,
It is a beautiful day. Actually, compared to the rain we've had, the wind we've had, the sun's out today.
Yeah.
I actually left my house this morning early around 6 a.m. With shorts
Nice.
and a hoodie, and I didn't mind it one bit. I was
That's a good
actually
way to
really
start the
happy.
day.
I was actually a little scared for a second. I'm
Yeah.
like, I might enjoy this. But yeah, no, it's a beautiful day today for sure. But thanks for coming out today. Thanks for coming
It's
up
my
here.
pleasure, always.
Because you are down in the south part of Philadelphia, correct?
Yeah, right in like Queen Village neighborhood.
Right on.
We're right at 417 South Street is our office.
Okay.
And that's usually where I host meetings. I've done a lot of events. That's where we certify our patients, and
So-
we do a lot of our great work.
So let's back it up then. Let's back up here because I know who you are.
Yeah.
I know, Jewish Sauce Boss. I know that. Anybody who follows on social media knows it because you have a presence there.
Yes.
But for my listeners who may not know, what is Jewish Sauce Boss? Who is Jewish Sauce Boss? How did this come about?
Yeah, definitely.
Where did it come from? Are you really Jewish?
That's funny. Yes, I'm Jewish.
Okay.
My name's Will Edelstein.
Edelstein is
Edelstein.
definitely Jewish.
Pretty
Okay.
Jewish, for sure. So yeah, Jewish Sauce Boss was created at a time when I was just going through a lot of different things and figuring out, the next steps in my life. And, I was kind of really looking at the world and trying to match what I love with what I'm good at. And, all of these things that, at the end of the day, I guess we're all aspiring to do. So I just put in a lot of work to, think about it. And I just love cannabis. Like, I've loved cannabis since I'm 18 years old. That's when I guess our love affair started. And
I love how you say your love affair. That's awesome.
and since that day, it's, I've always found myself educating on cannabis. So, from the time I was in school, I did a speech on the decriminalization on cannabis for a public speaking course, which was really cool, in 2010 or 11.
And was that college or high school?
That was in college.
In college.
Mhm.
Okay, so going back to like when you started, like your love for cannabis, like was it, it was done, of course, recreationally?
Of course, yeah.
Of course. But how did you start to educate? When did the education start to come about for yourself?
So for me, the words recreational, medical, adult use, all of these different things that we're gonna, put on cannabis. At the end of the day, I feel most people use it for a medicinal purpose.
Absolutely.
Right? And when I, came across it and really started to learn how to incorporate it into my life in a way that was meaningful to improve the overall quality of my life, it was helping me manage my anxieties. I've always enjoyed being like active and exercise and go to the gym, so it's always been my way to like recover and help my body, my mind, and my spirit. So I thoroughly believe in that, and it's just always been a huge part of my life. And something was really crazy when I came out of school. When you're supposed to have the job that you're supposed to get and all the things you're supposed to be doing, I actually failed a hair drug test for cannabis, and I was a college graduate, and then I didn't get the job that I was supposed to get, and then 2 weeks later I was serving tables at Chili's, which is amazing because I was happy to have a job.
Right.
And my background is the restaurant hospitality industry,
Okay.
so that was like my bread and butter. I wasn't worried about it, but it just was like I knew something was wrong. Like I knew I didn't really do something wrong, but there was something messed up about how people view cannabis. So ultimately, Jewish Sauce Boss was created to change the stigma of cannabis, to normalize the conversation, and help initiate change to push forward legalization. And
I love that.
That's the goal. That's been the goal
awesome.
since day one.
Well, there is a huge stigma. I mean, first of all, let's face it. There has been a huge stigma about cannabis for many years. I mean, go back to the commercials on TV that you see the little kid sitting in his room with a shoebox open, and the dad walks in and there's a bag of pot sitting there, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and dad's like, "Where'd you learn that?" And the kid's like, "From you, dad."
Yeah.
And like, that's a stigma right there. That's creating that thing that this is the gateway,
Yeah.
and that's what I think what's happened to cannabis, and that's been a fight and a constant battle for years.
There's been an incredible amount of misinformation
Right.
and negative propaganda towards the plant because hemp is is from the cannabis plant, and it has an endless amount of uses, and then we're going to see it all play out how it impacts every industry, and we've seen that with the legalization of the hemp through the farm bill, and people are going to start creating products that are beneficial to the environment and sustainable through hemp, right? And it's going to be
Absolutely.
really fun and cool to see. But that was held up because of, a million different things. People said hemp is the same as cannabis, and then other people were in certain industries that didn't want to get it affected from the hemp plant. So I mean, there's a million. We go into the history all day, but
Once again, that's just misinformation. That's
yeah,
the miseducation, lack of
yeah,
awareness.
hmm
And I think that happens with anything. It happens more so in, that quote unquote drug culture,
hmm
as people call it, which is also the stigma
yeah. It was
behind
always
it.
demonized.
Right,
And cannabis
absolutely. I like
consumers
that.
are not bad people, not at all. Like I know so many of them, and they're incredibly intelligent, they're incredibly professional, and they're incredibly good people most of the time.
Absolutely.
And, it doesn't always correlate. I'm not saying everyone that uses cannabis is a good person, but most of the time, people that utilize this plant have a sense and an energy about them that that they enjoy cannabis, and you can connect on that level. So for me, it's like the demonization needs to stop, the stigma needs to be removed, and there's a lot of hurdles because of the way cannabis is classified as a drug. There's different schedules of drugs, and cannabis, unfortunately, is in the Schedule 1 classification.
It is. It still is.
And it's hard for me to make sense of something when you see 33 states have medical cannabis or medical marijuana laws, policies, regulations, hundreds of thousands of patients, millions of patients. But then, in the eyes of the federal government, a Schedule 1 status drug says there is no medicinal value and a high potential for abuse.
So funny that you must be reading my mind, because I was just going to ask you right before you said it. How many states have this now as being either, medicinal
hmm
or recreational? So 33.
33.
33 states.
Correct.
Are Hawaii or Alaska any either of those states?
Alaska is an adult use,
Adult use.
recreational
So when they say
state.
adult use, is that 21 or 18?
It's 21.
21.
Yes.
Okay. Are there many, and this is where I need to,
Sure, yeah, fire away.
and I know a lot about cannabis.
Yeah, please.
I don't know a lot about the entire, the whole procedure of.
Yeah, definitely. There's
So
a lot of layers.
there are, and I think this is important because I think even for the listeners, they all want to know. I've had people ask me because I do have my card.
Great.
So, and actually, I checked out herbology all because of you.
That's really cool to hear.
And I loved it. It was awesome.
I'm really happy to hear that.
Yeah.
They're a great store. They have cool people, and it's just like what I kind of came back to. They have a good energy when you go in there. You feel that spirit of cannabis behind, the people who are in there. It doesn't, some of these places, and maybe that's what they're focused on, and I respect it. They
There's
kinda
a
feel
lack
like
of
Rite Aid.
bouginess there.
Yeah, they feel some places feel like
Sorry.
a Rite Aid or a hospital, and it's
Yeah.
like I don't want to feel that. So I'm so
Yeah.
happy that you like herbology, and
Yeah,
it means the world
herbology
to
was
me.
cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, and it was because of you. I had no idea, and I just happened to be in like the Grays Ferry, Point Breeze area, and I was like, oh, right down Washington. Why not?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Can't miss that blue awning.
yeah, absolutely. And like, it's right there, so it's
Yeah.
great. So 33 states and adult usage. How many of them are adult? Is that 21 and over? Are there any that are 18 and over?
So it's an interesting point about 18 to 21. So in Pennsylvania, the medical cannabis program is 18 and over, meaning if you're 18 and you qualify for the program, you can go to the dispensary and obtain cannabis.
Okay.
Right? Which is, and it's equally, interesting. Not that I want to compare, cannabis to any other industry, but we've recently seen our state up the age on buying tobacco products from, I don't know if it was 18 or 19, but now it's 21. You actually have to be, I think, 21 to buy tobacco products in Wawa. I saw a sign. It was the craziest thing I
Is
ever
it?
saw. We might have to verify it.
Yeah, I don't know because
But
I haven't smoked tobacco in.
neither do I.
Yeah.
I went in there for a snack and I saw the sign and I was like, "Is this for real?" To the cashier, she's like, "Yeah, it's a new
Wow.
thing." So, the
Wow.
point being is 18 and over for medical cannabis in Pennsylvania. When it comes to adult use, as far as I'm concerned, and to my knowledge, it's 21 and over.
21 and over.
So you can, basically use your ID, your state ID, in whichever state you might be in. There's 11, I believe 11 recreational adult use states, and then DC is also a pseudo recreational
Right.
market,
Right,
which
right.
is interesting. I don't know much about it at all. I haven't spent much time on it, but there's markets coming online each year. There's multiple markets coming online each year. This is going to be a huge year for cannabis initiatives across the country.
Oh, yes.
On a lot of different ballots. So I'm just excited to have built something within Jewish Sauce Boss that stays true to who we are, remains, consistent in what we believe in our mission. And through that, it's going to allow us to stay relevant and stay alive in the cannabis industry, because the biggest thing I think you need to do is just build a brand
Right.
that you believe in, that you stand behind, that you're not trying to fake it till you make it. And unfortunately, our industry is filled with a lot of frauds.
Oh, yes.
And a lot of people who don't truly love this plant. They just love money and attention and
Big difference.
And the new shiny thing. And to to be able to say they're a cannabis entrepreneur, like I still feel at times like I don't even have the right to say I do what I do, because all the people that came before me. But I know I put in this work every day of my life to be in this position to help initiate change, and I just hold it to the highest standard. And it upsets me when I see people getting taken advantage of, or people doing this for the wrong reasons. And ultimately, I want to consistently be here to show everyone that I'm doing it for my reasons and for the right reasons. And I document it day in and day out, and I've been doing it for 2.5 years.
That's amazing. So as I sit here and I just listen to you talk, and the term cannabis was something that was really never used all these years. As a matter of fact, if we peel some layers back about stigma and about the words that are used in popular drug culture, it was even considered to be called dope.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the day, which if you take the context of what that stigma word is today, it's a totally different aspect of the word. But you never really heard it called cannabis, and it's a word that I believe gives it a more credible
Exactly.
feeling to it than pot or
It's one of the
weed.
100%. It's one of the few small ways to help initiate change. Like, language is incredibly important.
Right.
As someone who's in media, how important words are.
Absolutely.
So, even the doctors I'll work with in our state, they'll still call it pot. They'll still call it I don't even know what they'll call it. It's like, and it's like I want them to start using better language. And it's like, you're a doctor. It's like, I want them to understand that the way you talk about cannabis is so meaningful, because people take what doctors say and run with it.
Right. Oh, absolutely.
And unfortunately and fortunately, it's a good thing. But sometimes, as we've seen, with a lot of issues we're having with all different types of medications, and I've been privileged to be on the forefront of this on a very, like in a very small way by helping certify patients for medical cannabis in Pennsylvania, that we need to make sure we're talking about this in the right way to stop allowing people to feel nervous about coming in to get this card, because there should be no trepidation for you to demand that this is the medicine I need because it makes me feel the best, and any other thing I put in my body, whether it's a pill or someone tells me to use this, whatever, isn't working. And the only thing that helps me is weed, is cannabis. And it's so real for me. So people just need to demand what they want. They need to come in and talk to the doctors and say, this is what works for me. This is why I need it. I have anxiety, I have chronic pain, whatever it might be. So we have 23 approvable conditions. Check them out. Get your cannabis card. It will change your life.
In Pennsylvania right now, there's currently 23 conditions.
Approved conditions.
Approved
Yes.
conditions.
And I want to make this note.
Yeah, go ahead.
In July, I believe it was around July 20th, we went from 21 to 23, and the additional 2 conditions were Tourette syndrome and anxiety. Okay, anxiety, as we've seen in other states, allows for a lot more people to enter the program because at the end of the day, who doesn't have anxiety if you're waking up every day and seeing what's going on in the world? So let's just keep it real. But we want to make sure people are getting help, right? And taken care of. So we went from around 400 patients being certified per day, and once anxiety became approved, it went up to around 1,000. So there's a lot of patients entering the program. There's a lot of people finding benefit from cannabis. Go figure, right?
Yeah.
But we still
Something so evil.
we still need to make it easier, though. We still need to make it more accessible.
So, back to Jewish sauce boss then.
Yeah.
Okay, it's interesting. You really hit the nail on the head without really saying it, but like you were trying to figure out what you wanted to be when you grew up a little bit, which we still all are at this stage, and everything every day is different. We're constantly evolving. We're constantly doing something, but you found this niche because it's like a passion. It's something you're very passionate about, something you believe in. You can't fake it till you make it. Some people can. Those are the people who really hate life. Those are the people
they're not happy.
They're not sincere. You don't ever see them. They're like basically wondering, when is it going to be time I'm going to mess up?
Yeah.
But we talk about this. So Jewish Sauce Boss, how long has that been around? How long has Jewish Sauce Boss been around?
The middle of November in 2017 is when I put it out on social media and bought the domain jewishsauceboss.com.
And why Jewish Sauce Boss out of anything you can have?
So I guess to break down the 3 words, right? So in the time between... So I'll lead you up to the 3 things that happened to me to create Jewish Sauce Boss. So this is the story. I had another company that I started up with a bunch of people that I walked away from that is still existing, and I hope that they're the most successful business in the world. But I had to walk away from it. One of the hardest things I ever did. In addition to that, I was engaged to be married, and we decided to end that relationship and not go through with our wedding. So that was an incredible experience. That same week, I walked into the job I had for 4.5 years and got laid off. And I had a dog, and I let her have the dog. So it was just like a crazy like month. Like that was a 1 month span, and it was like the only way I could describe it to anyone. The only way I felt was like back in the day when you would play video games and your friend was like kicking your butt, and you just hit the reset button. And everything started fresh, and there was like nothing ever. It was the craziest thing. So I looked at my life, and it was like, I literally at this moment can make a decision to do anything I want to do in life because there's nothing in front of me. There's nothing behind me. It's my whole life is different now.
Right on.
So
that's awesome.
I was doing a lot of soul searching. So I started reading every day, and I've always been self-educating myself, but I started just consuming books, consuming content, following entrepreneurs religiously, going to the gym every day, running, like just all these things. And I was talking to a lot of people, and someone brought up to me the connection between Judaism and cannabis. And like I said, I've loved weed since I'm 18. So like I've probably smoked weed every day since I'm about 18 years old, besides the times I couldn't, But it was just like, it was such a crazy time.
So there's a connection?
It's an incredible connection. You
really?
Know what I mean? Some people say, well, what was, not to get in any sort of lane here, but like, what was the oil Jesus had? What was that magic healing oil he had? Some people say it was a cannabis oil. I'm not one to speculate, but there's just too many connections to the plant.
Okay.
It's been around for It's been around for 4,000 years. The Jewish religion's been around for a long time.
Well, see, now if you ask me what the connection I would have, I'd say that at college, like when I went to college back before there was any legality of any of it all, they would be the ones that were the best at, dispersing it to to the students because
100%.
they were the entrepreneurs running the show.
Exactly.
So that would be my connection.
I'm so happy to hear you say that because that was my next connection. But like on the
and I'm serious too.
You're right.
100%.
You're right.
Yeah.
My homie, Mr. Green at Penn State, was the
Mr.
guy.
Green at Penn State.
Green, whatever. You need whatever you need. So, shout out.
So
But
you're a Penn State grad?
graduated from Penn State University.
Okay.
And I'm really excited because we're working through doing a Jewish sauce boss launch in Happy Valley.
Nice.
So
nice.
the goal is to to launch it, market it, promote it as Jewish Sauce Boss Happy Valley, and basically everything we're doing in Philadelphia, do it in the State College area, and I'm really looking forward to it. We have an incredible I want to call him one of our marketing coordinators, who we just brought on, who's a student at Penn State, who's
Nice.
going to be writing articles for us, doing blog posts, and getting more involved with Jewish Sauce Boss. So super thankful for my man up at Penn State. And I went to Penn State.
Are you from Philly?
I was born in the Northeast, and I grew up in Newtown and Yardley.
Okay.
Went to Pennsbury High School, Penn State. And Jewish Sauce Boss was just created out of a lot of uncertainty and time to get serious on what I wanted to do. I've always been an entrepreneur. From the time I'm 13 years old, I've done things to make money because my parents are just hardworking people.
Mm-hmm.
My dad is the original JSB.
Mm-hmm.
He's
following his footsteps.
He's
right
all,
on.
all-time hustler, all-time just.
And there's
do
a flow
whatever
to
it
that
takes.
too. The Jewish Sauce Boss. It's just there's a flow to it.
There's I've never said it to anyone, and it hasn't caused a reaction. And by reaction, I mean a smile, a chuckle, a cringe, whatever you want to call it. And for me, it's if you want to have something, you want someone to react.
Mm-hmm.
I want,
right.
When I say the name of my company, Jewish Sauce Boss, I want you to react. Because
Mm-hmm.
if you don't react, then I should have named it something else.
Right. Exactly. I own a pet sitting and dog walking company.
Mm-hmm.
And when people say to me, I love the name of your company, it's Metropolitan.
Mm-hmm.
Just a little,
Mm-hmm.
quirky, corny, cute name. But
Memorable.
Memorable in the dog walking industry. So Jewish Sauce Boss, and then when I look at your logo, it just all flows so well together.
Yeah, I have to say, it's the greatest idea I ever had in my life. I don't know what else to say, man.
Well, man, you took your passion. You took something you were passionate about.
Yeah.
You applied it to it. So now you have your own office at 417 South Front Street. You have people
South Street.
South Street. Did I say South Front?
It's all good.
Sorry.
No worries.
I didn't know. I meant South. Mentally, I was saying South.
It's all good.
What I actually said though, but and that's could just be
Right near Jim's Steaks. Right across from Jim's Steaks. Right near Milk Boy.
genius.
Right near Tattooed Mom. Right down the street, a couple of blocks.
I was just out there
We're
last
in the
night putting
neighborhood.
some Philly Unknown stickers up. But
Nice.
So you're there. So what do you do there? What does this office do for you or for people?
So my office is a place for me to just, do work that I need to get done day to day, because I can't sit still. I'm not good at computer work or busy work. So
4 walls.
so anybody who wants to get involved with doing any type of work, hit me up. And then we've been doing patient certifications since
Nice.
August.
You hold a special night where you come in and do it there?
Correct. We've done it some different nights. Most recently, and tomorrow, which is Thursday, we have one tomorrow.
Okay. Cool.
Tomorrow we'll be certifying patients from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. at 417 South Street. So the building is really great. My office is even suited for a doctor office, the baseboards, the lighting. So we're able to really turn it into a really nice setup.
Nice.
The building is card. You have to swipe a card to get in. So we buzz people up. So it has a really professional feel.
Right.
But at the end of the day, the goal is to just help people. And we want to be a pivotal part of the community where people could come to get that card, to get recertified, to get educated
Mm-hmm.
on this plant. And we've done some events there, but ultimately, it's just where I do my business, host my meetings, conduct my appointments, and do our patient certifications.
And I think it's important for people to know. I have a lot of people who say to me, well, what did you have to do? And it's like, they're so like they want to know the process. They
Mhm.
want to know what people need to go through, and there's several different avenues that people can go through to get the card. It really depends on what they want to do, and
100%.
But for yourself, when you do these certification nights,
Mhm.
what does one need to do in order to come there to feel comfortable? Because I think part of it is that stigma that like even if I carry the card, it's still going to be taboo.
Of course, of
So
course.
what do they need to do to come there to make them
So
for
the
at any time?
so the biggest thing to do is just check us out, jewishsauceboss.com. We have a lot of good information about cannabis, about the steps to obtain your PA MMJ certification, and the process is really straightforward. It's to make a decision for yourself to say, okay, I've been using cannabis, or I think cannabis might be right for me, or maybe you're going back and forth with it, and to take the step to start looking up, how to do it, what to do. But ultimately, it's check out the list of conditions. If you are unsure about the conditions, or if you qualify, or if any of these things, just I'm here. Like, you can text me, you can literally call me, you can message me.
Yeah,
You can
your
reach out.
website actually has a contact form for you to ask the questions too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So any question anyone has, and like, we get inbound questions a lot. Everything from, I've had an incredible amount of education from this experience. I'll give you one thing. Like, we had a student athlete get his card, and he got the card. There's absolutely no policy or code of conduct within the university to tell him what he's allowed to do, but there's something that could happen negatively if he tests positive for cannabis as a student athlete. So he needed one of our certifying physicians to write a note to the university to say, this, he got his card, this is why he got it, all of these things. So that was really interesting to see, because in addition to that, you're seeing workforces and companies and organizations forego cannabis on the drug testing list. So it's allowing them to get better and more qualified candidates.
Right.
And that kind of goes back to smart people use cannabis, intelligent people
Absolutely.
use cannabis, professional people use cannabis.
I think and I think that's the stigma a lot with anybody who uses any type of substance. That many smart people do. It's it's not something that like, oh, just because you're smoking cannabis at the end of the day that you're any less smart than the person sitting next to you. It's not like it's not that typical like dumb stoner persona.
Not at all. Listen, people who are lazy will always be lazy.
Absolutely.
And if they want to use cannabis as the crutch to be lazy or productive, it's a wild substance, and it can really take you either way.
It depends on what you want to do.
And it's your mindset.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do? Like, okay, if you're listen, I know people that use cannabis. They wake up, they smoke a blunt, they're going to go to their shitty job where they're getting like $12 an hour, and they're going to come home and they're going to do the same thing. You know what I mean? Like, that's just like how it goes, And that doesn't make
That's
them
an individual.
any different than the guy running a 1,000-person organization that comes home at the end of the night, takes care of his kids, and wants to use cannabis, but instead of rolling up a blunt, he's hitting a vape pen or taking a 10-milligram edible. So he's able to come down from his crazy day of running a business so he can come to the level of being able to take care of his kids and, be whatever. So it's like, I've learned so much about life through this plant and how it can help people in any way, shape, or form. And someone smart said this to me one time. Riley Cote, it's my homie, played for the Flyers, doing amazing work for the cannabis industry. He said, people that say cannabis is a crutch or whatever it is, well, he said sometimes people need crutches to walk. So, like, if someone needs cannabis to do whatever they need to do, use it. God bless you. That's what it's here for. Because I know some people who can't get up in the morning until they smoke their cannabis or use their cannabis because of IBS, because of whatever issue they face, and it's the way they can face the world.
People get up in the morning, they need their coffee. Some people get up in the morning and they need their cannabis.
Same.
They need to have
Yeah.
that quote unquote wake and bake. That wake and bake sometimes is no joke. That is something that's going to get them to be in a mind frame to get out that door and to deal with their day. To put it into
Exactly.
perspective, because I think, now that they've added anxiety to the list, I think that's going to attack and address so many more mental health or mental illness
Hmm.
issues that are going on out there, because that's the precursor to this.
Absolutely. Listen, I just listen. I'm a sponge, my
Mhm.
man. Like, I talk about what I know, and I talk about cannabis. That's why if I veer away from it, I say like, I'm not, like, I don't know. You know what I mean? So, but another incredibly smart person told me the simplest thing, but most people don't do it, and they can't do it. And it's get rest, sleep well,
Mhm.
or excuse me, get rest, and sleep well, eat the right foods, and exercise. If you could do those three things, you will be feeling so good. But the thing I like to tell people is, try to do these things. But listen, not everybody could do that. People need help. That's where cannabis comes in every way, shape, or form. What do you need it for? Let's find the best use case for you.
And you, my friend, are into fitness. You're into exercise.
I try, yeah, as
And
much as
you
possible.
will even show yourself working out after you have just got done smoking cannabis,
Correct.
because you need that as your motivation sometimes.
Yeah,
It's like a
yeah.
mental motivation.
Yes, like for me, it's like it's such a part of my life,
Hmm.
and it's like I'm very fortunate that I have the ability to wake up and make a decision. Well, do I want to try this strain today
Hmm.
and see how it impacts my performance when I'm, working out or exercising, and then do I want to not use cannabis this morning and go to the gym and see how I'm performing? Like for me, it's like I want to just figure out what's possible here. I
Right.
want to see how to maximize my potential, my
Right.
abilities, you know, all of these things. So I'm always down to use cannabis before I go to the gym or almost anything because, thankfully I'm not leaving here to go do brain surgery or
Hmm.
go build a building and operate machinery. But I'm
If we
here.
wanted to do that, we'd be doing that. Yeah,
Exactly,
right.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm here to do me and do the best I can at being Jewish sauce boss and building this business and staying focused on my mission and my vision. And I love what I do. It's literally like I sometimes I just have to remind myself and be so thankful and grateful, even when I feel whatever stressed or pressure or uncertainty. It's just well, that's what I did this for. I
Hmm.
I created this to feel those things. So I'm getting better at learning how to be an entrepreneur, how to be a man, how to be a leader, and it's fun and it's the craziest experience I've ever had in my life.
That's that's so cool to hear. So, do you feel though, along the way, of course, you're helping people?
The coolest thing in life to do is help people and solve problems. And when I started Jewish Sauce Boss, a friend of mine told me, as long as you focus on those two things, you will be successful because I know this is what you're going to do, and that's what your goal is ultimately through Jewish Sauce Boss. I wasn't able to articulate it like that yet, and that was probably I don't know 5, 6, 7 months into the journey. And he asked me like, what business am I in? And I was like, I'm in the cannabis business. He's like, no, you're in the helping people and solving problems business.
I
That's
love that.
actually what you're doing. And I was like, whoa. And then it just made me think differently. It made me think totally differently. And I say and I've said it I don't know, maybe every day since he told me that. And I've incorporated it into what I put out in content or when I talk to someone in person, like how can I help you? Do you have any problems I can solve? Anything like that. And it's just led to it just being what it like talking it, living it,
Hmm.
embodying it, taking in criticism, responding to feedback. because there's a lot of noise, but sometimes someone has something good to say, and you're like, okay, I'm taking that one, and I'm running with it.
That's awesome because not many people listen.
No,
Not many people listen.
no,
You know, I always say, the three things: if you show up, you listen, you try to laugh, you're halfway there.
hell yeah.
And not many people listen. So for you to be able to listen, that's a gift in itself. That's a special skill.
Yeah, listen, I'm blessed with two of the most incredible parents in the world. My mother gave me every emotional intelligence, quality, skill, ability I'll ever need. She's the kindest, most loving human being in the world, and I wish everyone could feel the amount of love she's given me. And my dad, who graduated from ninth grade, got his GED, has been a complete, just doing it on his own, figuring it out his whole life. And he's instilled in me that ability to believe in yourself, figure it out, try things, don't give a shit what people think. Literally, like I'm not going to say certain words that he just like, he's the man.
You sound like your dad and my dad should have golfed together.
He's like the coolest dude. He's just like a cool ass dude, and my mom's just an amazing soul. So for me, it's like I was given everything, and in a sense, it's up to me to take it to the level that I want it and build the life that I really want and desire.
So you're actually really just taking it at this point, and you're giving it to other people too.
That's it.
You're instilling in other people to be able to live that life as well.
That's it. You just have to believe in yourself, know yourself, love yourself. Just try your best to not care what people think about you, respect others, and show up like you said every day, and never give up.
Never give up is so important. It's one of the most important qualities that people can like endure or endear, for themselves. I always often say that like I don't make many mistakes. Doesn't mean I'm perfect. I take a lot of risks.
Oh yeah.
And those risks may not pay off,
Mm-hmm.
or they may not turn out the way I expect them to, but I can't look at it as a mistake because the minute I do, my entire mind frame becomes really negative. And now I've just taken everything that I've done and worked towards and just like give it no credibility.
Exactly.
Like why not rework it? Why not learn from that risk that you took?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think some people find it so hard to believe in themselves? Tough question.
Why? It's because they were never taught to believe in themselves.
Do you think it's something that's instilled in you then, like your parents did for you, or somebody else did, or?
I think you either have to be taught to believe in yourself. You have to want better for yourself if you're in a circumstance where no one is teaching you to believe in yourself. It's as simple as like looking at yourself in the mirror and say like, I'm capable. I'm a boss. I'm gonna dominate this day. Like there's no one out here that's better than me. Like even if there is, who gives a shit? You know what I mean? But I think really everything starts at a foundational level. And if you come from a family, or if you come from no family and you're fortunate enough to be around people who have confidence and swag, like, listen, Jewish Sauce Boss, what did I love? At 9 years old, I had my first Lil Wayne album. I love hip hop. Jewish Sauce Boss, to get back to that original question.
Oh yeah.
Is Jewish. I'm Jewish. Jewish sauce is weed. When I was in college, when my homies and I were texting,
that was
we
the
didn't want to
sauce.
say the words in the text, so we say, yo, you got the sauce?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got the sauce.
There was code.
I always got the sauce.
There was code.
And then boss is, I want to be a boss.
I say, what do you want to attack today?
All the people I love listening to, all the rappers, talking about being a boss. I got the sauce, like all of these things. And then I was like, listen, what do I love? I love entrepreneurship. I love hip-hop culture. I love cannabis. Where's the world going? Trending in all those directions. The biggest impact on culture is hip-hop. The fastest growing industry in the world is cannabis. And the biggest name in the industry soon will be Jewish Sauce Boss.
I love it. You're ready to take it, aren't you? Absolutely.
I'm here for it, man. I ain't scared of nothing.
So, what have you gone out and done any talks? Have you spoken at all?
You know what? I've spoken in a couple places. That's a big goal of mine.
Okay.
Going into the next
I could picture that
6 months to a year is doing a lot more speaking on what I believe in and what I'm focused on in life. And I think a lot of people need to hear what I'm talking about. So, I want to really narrow in on how to get my message out there more. Right now we're in a rebuild of our website, so we're gonna have an incredible new version of our website
Nice.
coming out.
Which
In
is
JewishSauceBoss.com. Thanks for that.
perfect.
So hit us up at
And your
JewishSauceBoss.com.
Instagram is?
Jewish Sauce Boss, Facebook Jewish Sauce Boss, Twitter, which I should be on more, is Jewish Sauce Boss. Jewish
So your
Sauce
brand
Boss
is
everything.
Jewish Sauce
Jewish
Boss.
Sauce Boss, baby. JSB all day.
JSB, I love it.
Um,
Even when you walked in, you're like, I'm Jewish B.
Yep.
I'm like, I'm glad I knew what your LinkedIn said because I knew your name then from that.
That's funny. Yeah, I've had some people who've met me and they're like, "Hey, hi, my name's Will," and they're like, "Whoa, I never knew your name before," and I was like,
I got to do my
like,
due
good.
diligence. I got to peel
Good.
layers back and do a little research,
Heck
because
yeah.
I don't want to be like, I don't want, well, hey, what's up, Jewish?
I love it.
You never know who's around listening. They'd be like, what'd you just call him?
Listen, I have some homies who literally they'll call me Jewish. They'll be like, "Yo, what's up, Jewish?" Some people will call me Sauce. Some people call me Boss. Some people just call me JSB.
I like JSB.
I
Initials.
like JSB.
Initials are cool. I like that.
Yeah, JSB works.
I have a
works.
question for you while
Please.
we're on the topic of this. Our country is enthralled with this opioid epidemic that has just taken our country by storm, and it's devastating. It's many have lost their lives to it. I have many friends. I've been involved with the epidemic for many years. Do you think that there is a correlation of cannabis being a way to come off of opioids and a direct effect upon that, like through a detox and stuff?
You
personally, your opinion.
1,000%. In Pennsylvania, one of our approvable conditions is opioid use disorder. So I was really excited to, see Pennsylvania make a decision to allow people who've unfortunately been negatively affected by, these pills and these pharmaceuticals to have an opportunity to use cannabis instead. I had a conversation the other day with someone who was using RSO oil. I believe it was RSO oil. I'm not sure who made it, but it was from one of our dispensaries. It was just a casual conversation, and in passing, he said, "This should be served in hospitals because it felt just like I used an opiate. The way I had pain relief from the RSO oil." So, just those little interactions I have on a day-to-day basis really make it meaningful for me. And we've had patients come to us who say, "Listen, I've had a problem with opioids. I'm here to obtain cannabis." It's as real as it sounds. And I literally, I champion that,
Love it.
because you need to. And like I said, it comes down to the first, decision that you have to make with yourself to move forward and taking the initiative to improve the quality of your life by incorporating, plant-based medicine, which is cannabis.
Absolutely.
So, there's a lot of amazing products at the dispensary. I highly recommend getting your card. There's a lot of improvements that can be made. There's a lot of people who have a lot of things to say about a lot of things. But if you have your card, you have access to dispensaries, you are a legal cannabis consumer in the eyes of the state of Pennsylvania. So if you have your medicine in the containers you purchase it in from the dispensaries, and you're traveling from Philly to Pittsburgh or Harrisburg, or even if you just leave from Philly to Montgomery County and go to the King of Prussia Mall. In Philly, I'm gonna educate everybody real quick again. Philadelphia, we have decriminalization. We are very lax in our city when it comes to this plant. Thank God. I appreciate it everywhere. Exactly. We're a very cannabis friendly city. Everybody is in love with the plant, like me, I hope. But what we need to realize is when you leave the city and you don't have that card, you can get in a lot of trouble, right? So I've had people reach out to me and say, "Oh, I got pulled over. I smoked a bowl in my car the night before. Before I left it, for not advocating smoking, so whatever. But someone does something that they're not thinking it through. Then they drive from the city into Montgomery County. They get pulled over and they get popped. And then they have to deal with a ton of issues and nonsense and lawyers and court and fines. And get your card. Get your cannabis card if you live in Pennsylvania.
Make it easy for yourself.
Just do it. Just get your card and do yourself a favor. If you like this plant, if it improves your life, if it's a part of who you are, get your card. It'll make a world of difference.
I also think it's important for people to know that. And if you do not believe in this and you are against it for some reason, do some research.
Please.
Get educated. Peel those layers back. Don't ever balk at it until you understand the true value of what the potential it has to offer.
Exactly.
It is very life-saving.
People cast judgments about things they don't know because they're afraid, or they're ignorant to the fact of the truth. And the truth is the truth. Mm-hmm. When you see a child who has a seizure and they give him cannabis or CBD oil or whatever is in there, whatever ratio, and he's convulsing and has seizures, and it's the saddest, most horrible thing you've ever seen. And then that child ingests cannabis oil, and the convulsions stop, the seizures subside, and he's living a normal life for those moments. I would love you to tell me that this doesn't save lives, improve lives, and change lives.
I love it. And that is such a great way to segue, out of our podcast for the day, our show, because I'll tell you what, you have given us so much information. You have given us so much hope against the stigma of cannabis right now. Jewish Sauce Boss is the real deal.
Hell yeah.
You are totally passionate about what you're doing, and you are educating people. So people, if you aren't following Will or Jewish B or JSB, make sure you are, once again, Jewish Sauce Boss on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, ad.com if you want to check out the website.
All things Jewish Sauce Boss.
And that's a great way to end the day. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thanks for educating me a little bit more.
Thanks for having me.
Oh,
really.
It's awesome. And for the rest of you out there, remember, whatever it is you stand for, be a voice. This is Britt Carpenter on Usula Radio. Have a great rest of your day.